Continuing from last chapter, Lin Dong obtains his strongest martial art inheritance, the sky-transforming dragon art from Qingzhu, the master of Azure Dragon Hall. Above the Thunder Sea, Qingzhu's figure gradually dissipated, and the overwhelming pressure that had permeated the air also began to weaken. Lin Dong's gaze remained fixed on the spot where Qingzhu had vanished. He clicked his tongue in amazement, clearly not expecting to encounter such an extraordinary figure in this place. Although Lin Dong still had no idea of Qingzhu's true origins or identity, he could tell the man was nothing short of exceptional. A person of this caliber would stand out even among the greatest beings across the heavens and earth. "This guy is pretty powerful," little mink commented, rubbing its furry face with a paw. Lin Dong chuckled. To have lived from ancient times until now, Qingzhu had to be remarkable. He was likely one of those true ancient monsters. Still, that guy was quite generous. On this point, Lin Dong agreed. Qingzhu had imparted to him the sky-transforming dragon art. While Lin Dong couldn't grasp its entirety yet, he could sense the martial art's vastness. Should he manage to master it, its power would undoubtedly be terrifying. The sky-transforming dragon art wasn't just an offensive martial technique like the Great Wilderness Celestial Prison Finger. In fact, it was an incredibly profound body-refining martial art. Once mastered, it would strengthen the physical body inside and out. A stronger body would mean that even simple movements could unleash astonishing destructive force. Every punch or finger thrust could rival advanced martial arts techniques. Of course, Lin Dong wasn't anywhere near that level yet. Even with the heavenly dragon chi that Qingzhu had left behind, he had only just begun to scratch the surface of this art. Still, he could already feel its benefits. Just the layer of azure dragon skin had greatly enhanced his physical strength. Moreover, the heavenly dragon chi wasn't fully absorbed. Despite possessing the devouring ancestral talisman, Lin Dong clearly wasn't capable of refining such a powerful energy yet. The heavenly dragon chi would remain within his body, gradually merging with his physique as his strength increased. Once the heavenly dragon chi fused completely, his body would become as formidable as a powerful demon beast. While Lin Dong was reveling in his recent gains, a great disturbance arose across the endless Thunder Sea. The surrounding space began to distort, and the thunderclouds swirling in the sky above started to dissipate rapidly, visible even to the naked eye. "It's disappearing," Lin Dong murmured softly as he watched the scene unfold. It seemed that Qingzhu's prediction was correct. This azure dragon trial would fade away after his departure. The spatial distortion became more and more violent, until it was as if the world had shattered like a broken mirror. With a series of cracking sounds, the entire space collapsed. As the Thunder Sea crumbled, the surrounding space seemed to return to a chaotic, misty void, filled with an eerie stillness. A soft rustling sound echoed. Suspended in this void, Lin Dong narrowed his eyes, gazing ahead. There, a clear sound of flowing water reached his ears, and faintly, an overwhelming surge of nirvana chi erupted like a volcano. Under the impact of this tremendous nirvana chi, the grayish hue ahead rapidly faded away. Soon, a radiant river, about 1,000 feet wide, appeared brilliantly before Lin Dong's eyes. The river before him glowed with a crimson hue, and its waters were unusually thick. Floating on the surface were flickers of red flames, the nirvana fire, which only materialized when the nirvana chi had reached an overwhelming concentration. Clearly, this river was a pill river, but one far superior to the one Lin Dong had encountered outside. The quality here was undeniably much higher. Lin Dong's eyes glimmered with envy as he stared at the radiant pill river. To condense such a high-quality river would require an absurd amount of nirvana pills. Qingzhu's generosity was truly staggering. Not a bad place. "Heh, seems like Qingzhu did me a favor by leaving this behind," Little Mink remarked, eyeing the pill river flowing through the void with satisfaction. Though it had acquired the life and death reincarnation pill, reconstructing its body still required an immense amount of energy, and this river would certainly provide the boost it needed. Lin Dong nodded with a smile. If Little Mink could regain its physical form, even if it couldn't immediately return to its peak strength, it would still be much stronger than it was now, becoming a powerful ally for him. It's going to take some time for me to rebuild my body. No problem. I'll be using this time to cultivate and attempt my second nirvana tribulation, Lin Dong said with a grin. Their journey through the ancient secret repository was almost at its conclusion, and he wasn't in a hurry to leave. After all, finding a place so perfect for cultivation outside was near impossible. Out in the ancient battleground, treasures were being scavenged from every corner, and powerful figures were pushing themselves to the limit, all in preparation for the 100 Dynasty War, which was now less than half a year away. Fierce competition for those treasures was likely breaking out everywhere, making the battleground more chaotic by the day. In such a volatile environment, it was better to stay here and cultivate in peace. Hearing Lin Dong's words, Little Mink nodded solemnly before leaping into the pill river. With a wave of its paw, the mysterious black and white pill, the life and death reincarnation pill, appeared in its grasp. Tendrils of life and death chi seeped from the pill, and as soon as the nirvana chi in the surrounding air touched it, they withered and dissipated. Clearly, the two energies were on completely different levels. Little Mink's heart pounded with excitement as it gazed at the pill in its paw. After a brief hesitation, it swallowed the pill whole. Boom! The moment the life and death reincarnation pill entered its body, a terrifying wave of energy erupted from within Little Mink, causing the pill river to churn violently. Streams of black and white life and death chi seeped from Little Mink's body, slowly expanding outward. Soon, they formed a black and white cocoon of energy, enveloping Little Mink entirely. Lin Dong gazed at the cocoon suspended above the pill river. He could faintly sense the violent fluctuations radiating from within. Clearly, the process inside was far from peaceful. Reconstructing a physical body wasn't a simple task, and it came with significant risks. But Lin Dong could do nothing about it. This was something only Little Mink could handle on its own, and there was nothing he could do to help. All he could do was pray that Little Mink succeeded without any mishaps. Now, it's my turn. After staring at the black and white cocoon for half an hour, Lin Dong finally gave up on finding any way to assist. He took a deep breath, his body shifting as he landed on one of the few cultivation platforms within the pill river. Unlike Little Mink, Lin Dong couldn't directly absorb the thick nirvana chi. He needed the platform to filter it for him. However, with the devouring ancestral talisman, his absorption speed wouldn't be too slow. The second nirvana tribulation. Sitting cross-legged on the cultivation platform, Lin Dong's eyes glimmered with anticipation. After half a month of tempering his body in the Thunder Sea, combined with the recent cultivation of the Azure Dragon skin, his physical strength now far surpassed that of most who had survived 2 nirvana tribulations. He was feeling confident. Slowly, Lin Dong closed his eyes, preparing to enter a state of deep cultivation. Yet, just as he was about to fully immerse himself, a thought flickered through his mind. I wonder how little Yin is doing right now. This was a battlefield soaked in blood. Figures, reeking of the stench of death, darted back and forth, their movements punctuated by the sounds of brutal combat. The air was thick with the ferocity of battle, and the aura of carnage suffused the entire space. The figures on this battlefield were gaunt, their eyes hollow and their bodies emaciated, resembling corpses. Yet, their eyes burned red, filled with an insatiable bloodlust. It was like a hellish purgatory of warfare. Boom, boom. From the chaos of the battlefield, low, thunderous sounds echoed as more than a dozen figures were smashed apart by a single sweep of a massive staff. Following that, an incredibly ferocious aura, akin to that of an ancient beast, surged across the battlefield. Amid this wild surge of energy, a figure, hulking like a giant, strode forward, his heavy steps leaving a trail of destruction. He dragged behind him an enormous black iron staff, emerging step by step from the mountain of corpses and rivers of blood. His face, usually dull and expressionless, now took on a terrifyingly fierce and savage demeanor, exuding a bloodthirsty rage. Such was his overpowering aura that even the red-eyed, mindless corpses around him dared not approach. They instinctively recoiled, giving way as this blood-soaked figure slowly made his way toward the edge of the battlefield. The intensity of his presence was so overwhelming that not even the thick atmosphere of death and bloodshed in this space could hold him back. While Lin Dong was in the depths of the Azure Dragon Hall, focusing on his intense cultivation, the vast ancient battleground was indeed, as he had expected, plunging into its most chaotic and violent period. Various treasures were gradually being unearthed. Rare spirit artifacts, pills, and even advanced martial techniques. With such a limited supply compared to the number of competitors, it was inevitable that these treasures would spark fierce rivalries. Dynasties clashed in bloody confrontations over these coveted treasures. Relationships that were already fragile were now crumbling under the pressure of greed. Everyone wanted to claim these treasures. After all, none of those who had entered the ancient battleground were ordinary individuals. Their ambitions were equally extraordinary. They all sought to stand out in the 100 Dynasty War and attract the attention of the super sects, hoping to leap into greatness and completely alter the course of their lives. To become stronger, the treasures from the ancient repositories were seen as a shortcut, a tempting path that many were unwilling to forego. Thus, conflict was inevitable. As dynasties waged war, the battleground was shrouded in the smoke of conflict. In this intense atmosphere, more and more powerful figures began to reveal themselves, showing their true potential. Among these rising stars were not only the renowned powerhouses from the more advanced dynasties, but also dark horses, individuals who had emerged from obscurity after acquiring some ancient inheritance. Their strength was nothing to scoff at. Amidst the chaos and competition, the weak were naturally weeded out, while the outstanding ones sharpened their hidden edges. Now, the ancient battleground had truly reached its boiling point. After months of quiet build-up, the various strong individuals were finally beginning to assert themselves, attracting attention from across the space. As the ancient battleground descended into chaos, deep within the ancient secret repository, a radiant pill river continued to flow quietly. Wave after wave of astonishing nirvana chi spread outward, expanding endlessly. Suspended above the pill river was a black and white cocoon, surrounded by alternating rings of light. Within a 100-foot radius of the cocoon, there was not a trace of nirvana chi. It seemed as if this space was one that the nirvana chi feared to approach. Inside the rings of light, two starkly different scenes unfolded. On one side, there was vibrant life, bursting with energy. On the other, death pervaded. So much so that even the space itself felt stifled, gloomy, and gray. Life and death, two forces that governed the cycle of the universe, interwove and created strange, wondrous phenomena. Within the cocoon was, of course, little Mink, who was in the process of reconstructing its physical body. Ever since it had swallowed the life and death reincarnation pill and formed the cocoon, it had remained inside for 3 full months. Over the course of 3 months, the cocoon formed by little Mink continued to grow larger, but there were no visible disturbances or fluctuations emanating from it. Enveloped by the life and death chi, no one could discern what was happening inside. However, judging by the increasingly dense aura of life and death chi surrounding the cocoon, it seemed that nothing unsettling had occurred so far. Overall, it seemed that little Mink's process was going relatively smoothly. Switching focus to a cultivation platform several hundred zhang away from the black and white cocoon, a figure sat in meditation like a seasoned monk. Waves of immense devouring power emanated from him, drawing in the vast nirvana chi from the surroundings at an astonishing rate, a speed that left observers amazed. For 3 months, Lin Dong had devoted himself to intense cultivation on this platform. The results were impressive. 2 months ago, he had successfully passed the second Nirvana tribulation. Although the second Nirvana tribulation was more formidable and violent than the first, Lin Dong, whose body had been tempered in the Thunder Sea for half a month, and who had practiced the Azure Dragon transformation technique to an introductory level, found it relatively easy to handle. Thus, Lin Dong's second Nirvana tribulation went so smoothly that even he was surprised. If other tribulation survivors were to hear this, they might be filled with frustration. Most people faced tribulations with fear and exerted all their strength to barely survive, while for Lin Dong, It was as easy as having a meal. Of course, Lin Dong didn't have time to concern himself with others' frustrations. His ease in overcoming the second nirvana tribulation was also due to the extraordinary suffering he had endured beforehand. This robust body, far superior to those of other cultivators at the same level, was not something Lin Dong had achieved simply by consuming rare treasures. Everything required effort to reap rewards, and cultivation was no different. On the ancient cultivation platform, the nirvana chi surged vigorously. Lin Dong's demeanor was as calm as a deep pool, and the aura he emanated was clearly much stronger than it had been 3 months ago. Now, he was a genuine second nirvana stage cultivator, and in terms of combat ability, he could likely contend even with third nirvana stage experts. Having passed the second nirvana tribulation in just 1 month of closed-door cultivation was already a remarkable achievement. However, Lin Dong wasn't fully satisfied. This was why, even after overcoming the second nirvana tribulation 2 months ago, he continued to cultivate with even greater intensity. His original goal was to be ready to face the third nirvana tribulation before leaving this place. Lin Dong was never arrogant. He understood the depth of hidden talents in the ancient battleground. While he might have had fortuitous encounters, others could have even more terrifying ones. Good fortune in the world was never solely his to enjoy. The strength of the second nirvana stage certainly allowed him to look down upon most cultivators. However, if he were to encounter powerful figures listed on the nirvana rankings, he might find himself somewhat outmatched. Thus, he needed to push his strength to its temporary limits before the 100 Dynasty War began. That limit, at the very least, had to include overcoming the third nirvana tribulation. On the cultivation platform, Lin Dong's breathing grew slightly more intense. A circle of black holes expanded behind him, causing the surrounding nirvana chi to surge toward him with an even more ferocious speed, flooding into his body. The Pill River flowed through the gray, misty space, inaccessible to all. The silence enveloped the area, broken only by the occasional splashing sound of the Pill River, adding a touch of vitality to the otherwise still space. In this place, it seemed that even time had lost its meaning. In this timeless void, another month passed quietly. As the ancient battleground became almost chaotic with its intensity, the Pill River remained serene and peaceful. Splash, splash. On the rolling surface of the Pill River, red nirvana flames soared. Suddenly, the entire Pill River trembled violently, and the emanating nirvana chi began to surge towards the cultivation platform with astonishing speed. Under this intense surge of nirvana chi, a figure on the platform started to emit a faint golden glow. It resembled a golden monk in meditation, with waves of extremely unstable primordial energy radiating outward in concentric rings from his body. Lin Dong's skin, which had taken on a pure golden hue, now showed an eerie red tinge, and the surrounding air had grown dry. These unstable fluctuations were a clear sign that the nirvana tribulation was approaching. After 3 more months of arduous cultivation, Lin Dong's third nirvana tribulation had finally arrived. Within the Pill River, the nirvana chi seemed to be stirred up, becoming extremely violent. The chi, centered around the cultivation platform, began to show signs of forming a storm, with waves of nirvana flames weaving through it. Amidst this massive storm, Lin Dong sat in meditation. His expression was grave, no longer carrying the ease he had shown during the second nirvana tribulation 3 months ago. The nirvana tribulation grew progressively more powerful, with each stage increasing exponentially in intensity. While Lin Dong had managed to easily pass the second nirvana tribulation with his current physical strength, the third nirvana tribulation posed a significantly greater challenge. Even he could not approach this with the same ease. As the turbulence from within Lin Dong's body grew increasingly violent, a deep, resonant dragon roar suddenly echoed from his core. An azure light spread out, forming an azure dragon skin on his skin, which was a feature achieved only after practicing the sky-transforming dragon art. Clearly, to face this third nirvana tribulation, Lin Dong had fully unleashed all his techniques. Now, he was determined to see just how terrifying this dreaded third nirvana tribulation truly was. Above the vast Pill River, a crimson storm spun at an astonishing speed, its violent waves potent enough to make even a cultivator at the second nirvana stage feel a genuine heart palpitation. In the center of the storm sat Lin Dong in meditation, his expression grave, even tinged with a hint of anxiety. Despite his composure, he knew that even with his preparations, he couldn't afford to be overly casual about this third nirvana tribulation. Many exceptionally gifted individuals had perished in these tribulations. Lin Dong had worked tirelessly over the years to reach his current level, and he had no desire to become one of the unfortunate fallen geniuses before he could stand at the pinnacle of this world. Boom! The storm around the cultivation platform roared, and suddenly, crimson flames of nirvana surged forth, charging directly at Lin Dong below. Typically, nirvana tribulations are internal calamities, but as their frequency increases, their severity also intensifies. For instance, in this third nirvana tribulation, not only does the body face internal attacks, but the tribulation also invokes the nirvana energy from the heavens and earth to assault the body externally. This dual assault, from both inside and out, creates a nearly insurmountable challenge. Currently, within the Pill River, the nirvana energy was already incredibly dense. This made the attacks even more formidable and the situation more troublesome for Lin Dong. Crimson nirvana flames roared down like fiery meteors across the sky, their violent waves crashing against Lin Dong's body. Boom, boom. Deep explosions resonated across Lin Dong's surface, with the searing heat relentlessly corroding his body. However, the azure dragon skin, enveloping him, showcased impressive defense. The faint azure light that spread out effectively isolated the encroaching nirvana flames from his skin. From the outside, Lin Dong appeared to be engulfed in blazing nirvana flames, but a closer look revealed that where the flames touched Lin Dong's skin, a faint azure light shimmered. Though seemingly weak, it prevented the nirvana flames from penetrating further. Lin Dong was well aware of the external attacks, and seeing that the azure dragon skin had completely blocked the nirvana flames, he let out a quiet sigh of relief. Yet, his heart tensed again because he knew that while external attacks were troublesome, the real challenge came from within. Lin Dong's mind continuously scanned his body, with his primordial energy rapidly circulating through his limbs, ready to provide support at any moment. His wait did not last long. Soon, he saw a wisp of pitch-black flame appearing slowly and ominously. Nirvana Demon Flame. Seeing the wisp of black flame, Lin Dong's heart tightened sharply. This was the most troublesome aspect of the third nirvana tribulation. The terrifying corrosive power of this flame could, once it spread within the body, potentially dissolve the internal organs in an instant. Lin Dong had encountered this type of flame before in the nirvana sky-burning formation. He had subdued it and later used it to put Lin Langtian in a life-threatening situation. Therefore, he was acutely aware of its destructive power. It's finally here. Lin Dong muttered softly to himself, then his mind focused intently. Without further hesitation, he channeled his primordial energy to envelop the black flame completely. Sizzle, sizzle. As if sensing Lin Dong's actions, the wisp of nirvana demon flame did not hold back. It immediately began to spread its terrifying corrosive power, causing the primordial energy surrounding it to visibly dissolve at a rapid pace. Troublesome thing. Seeing this, despite his mental preparation, Lin Dong couldn't help but curse inwardly. He quickly mobilized a more massive amount of primordial energy to completely encircle the nirvana demon flame. No matter what, he could not let the corrosive power of the flame reach the relatively fragile yet crucial organs within his body. The only way to counteract the nirvana demon flame seemed to be by using a dense primordial energy to counterbalance it. However, this method consumed an enormous amount of energy. Cultivators with weaker foundations might find themselves drained of primordial energy during such tribulations, allowing the nirvana demon flame to wreak havoc inside their bodies, ultimately leading to their downfall. Lin Dong's primordial energy reserves were substantial, so supporting himself for the time being wasn't too burdensome. But he knew well that the third nirvana tribulation would not be satisfied with just this one wisp of nirvana demon flame. Otherwise, many powerful cultivators wouldn't have perished at this stage. The single wisp of Nirvana demon flame was enveloped by the dense primordial energy. No matter how it tried to unleash its corrosive power, it could not break through the encirclement. Instead, it gradually faded under the constant pressure of the primordial energy, eventually dissipating completely. As soon as the Nirvana demon flame disappeared, Lin Dong's heart tightened again. He knew that what was coming next would be the real test. Sizzle. After Lin Dong's tense wait, about half a minute later, movement finally occurred within his body. Patches of blackness spread out ominously, eventually coalescing into floating black flames resembling scattered stars. Seeing the number of flames, Lin Dong's heart sank as he took a deep breath. He then unleashed a surge of primordial energy from his energy core at an astonishing speed, enveloping the Nirvana demon flames before they could release their corrosive power. The moment the black flame was encased, Lin Dong knew a grueling battle of attrition had begun. The terrifying corrosive power spread out with an imposing scale, causing Lin Dong's primordial energy to dissolve by nearly 1/10 within just a few minutes. At this point, the true horror of the Nirvana demon flame was beginning to reveal itself. Facing such massive consumption, Lin Dong's mind was heavy with focus, but he did not panic. He understood that panicking would be the end of everything. Maintaining his calm, Lin Dong methodically drew primordial energy from his energy core, continuously replenishing any area that showed signs of weakness. No matter what, he could not allow the Nirvana demon flame to damage the interior of his body, as that would be fatal. Lin Dong was managing well, but the number of Nirvana demon flames was substantial, making it particularly challenging to deal with. The expenditure of primordial energy caused his brows to furrow tightly. The Nirvana demon flames seemed indifferent to Lin Dong's emotions. They continued to blaze fiercely, releasing waves of terrifying corrosive power, as if they were determined not to rest until Lin Dong was completely dissolved. In this deadlock, Lin Dong's primordial energy rapidly dwindled. After about 10 minutes, he had used up roughly half of his energy, yet the Nirvana demon flames showed no signs of fading and seemed to grow even fiercer. Seeing this, Lin Dong pondered briefly, then his mind focused, and a surge of spiritual energy erupted from his sea of consciousness, taking the place of primordial energy. As the spiritual energy replaced primordial energy to contain the Nirvana demon flames, Lin Dong activated a devouring force, causing waves of Nirvana energy from the surroundings to quickly flow into his body, replenishing the consumed primordial energy. Unlike other Nirvana cultivators, Lin Dong not only possessed a substantial amount of primordial energy, but also had impressive mastery over spiritual energy. With both types of power working together, he could engage in a protracted battle with the Nirvana demon flames, which was a significant advantage for him. It seemed that a turning point had arrived. Facing the combined assault of two types of energy, even the Nirvana demon flames began to suffer, with some of the weaker flames showing signs of dissipating under the relentless onslaught. Though the situation appeared to be improving, Lin Dong showed no signs of relaxation. As long as the Nirvana demon flames were not completely eradicated, they could erupt with terrifying power at any moment, leaving no room for negligence. Under Lin Dong's meticulous defense, the Nirvana demon flames eventually seemed to be running out of options. One by one, the dangerous flames began to dissipate. Lin Dong looked at this scene and finally let out a sigh of relief. However, as he observed the disappearing Nirvana demon flames, he couldn't help but feel a sense of waste. These flames were highly destructive. Even a cultivator at the second Nirvana stage would suffer severe damage if they infiltrated their body. If he could subdue them, they would make a formidable weapon. Subdue them? Lin Dong's mind focused on the eerie and alluring black flames, murmuring to himself. Lin Dong knew all too well the power of the Nirvana demon flames. Even cultivators who had reached the second Nirvana stage were extremely wary of these flames. If used properly, they could indeed become an incredibly formidable weapon. Of course, everyone understood the power of the Nirvana demon flames. However, most cultivators viewed them as a thorn in their side, desperately trying to make them go away. Few had the skill or ambition to subdue them like Lin Dong did. Lin Dong was clearly a decisive person. With a plan in mind, he wasted no time. His mind focused, and both his primordial energy and spiritual energy were mobilized to their fullest extent. The massive energy roared within Lin Dong's body, wrapping the Nirvana demon flames in a circular formation. He then concentrated them in one place, like herding cattle. Inside Lin Dong's body, the black Nirvana demon flames burned fiercely. Although this was enough to instill fear in many cultivators, the flames now showed signs of diminishing. This was because Lin Dong's spiritual energy and primordial energy had tightly encircled them. No matter how fiercely the flames released their corrosive power, they could not break through the formidable containment. Despite Lin Dong's firm containment of the Nirvana demon flames with his primordial energy and spiritual energy, subduing them was evidently impossible under such conditions. The Nirvana demon flames were too wild and unruly to be tamed by ordinary means. But Lin Dong had anticipated this situation. If the Nirvana demon flames were so easily subdued, they would hardly be considered rare or exceptional. Within the tight containment, a peculiar humming sound suddenly emerged. Then, a gentle white light tore through the enclosure and flashed out. The soft white light hovered in front of the massive primordial and spiritual energy, like a regal sovereign. Even the unruly Nirvana demon flames seemed to retreat in the presence of this light. The white light fluctuated, and within it, an ancient stone talisman floated, emanating an indescribable aura that subtly spread outward. Among Lin Dong's possessions, only this mysterious ancient stone talisman could subdue the Nirvana demon flames. Despite having this talisman for years, Lin Dong still could not fully understand its mysteries. The martial arts techniques he had mastered were now far beyond what the talisman's initial guidance could provide. The creators of these techniques were renowned figures, and even the stone talisman itself could not advance beyond its current state. Lin Dong had attempted to explore other abilities of the talisman, but each attempt ended in failure. His efforts were like throwing a stone into the sea. Each trial received no response from the talisman. This lack of feedback had left him somewhat discouraged. Over time, he resigned himself to the fact that, at the very least, the talisman might act instinctively in critical moments, providing some relief in dire situations. Under Lin Dong's manipulation, the talisman hovered before the Nirvana demon flames, its gentle white light fluctuating. It appeared weak, but in reality, it was immensely powerful. The stone talisman hovered in place, and after a moment, strands of white light shot out, intertwining to form a massive net that enveloped the Nirvana demon flames. Faced with the incoming light net, the Nirvana demon flames naturally resisted capture. The flames surged, and their corrosive power spread out in an attempt to dissolve the net. Sizzle. Sizzle. However, this time, the dissolution did not produce a destructive effect. The pale white light net, though seemingly fragile, remained unaffected by the corrosive power. It was as though the dissolution had no impact on it at all. The light net was immune to the corrosive power, significantly reducing the effectiveness of the Nirvana demon flames. The net closed in, enveloping the flames completely. Despite their struggles, the flames could not break free. Suppress. Seeing this smooth process, Lin Dong smiled. With a mental command, the talisman surged forward, appearing directly on the light net. The gentle white light emanated from it, and under this light, the once fiercely struggling Nirvana demon flames eerily became calm. The talisman's power exceeded Lin Dong's expectations. The Nirvana demon flames that had previously caused him headaches now showed no resistance under his control. Lin Dong couldn't help but sigh again at how mysterious the talisman was. Condense. With the talisman suppressing the Nirvana demon flames, the light net suddenly began to compress fiercely. The flames inside were rapidly shrinking as if they were being forced to condense. Intense waves of energy continued to emanate, but under the talisman's suppression, they could not spread. As the Nirvana demon flames shrank, their color deepened, and a hint of destructive energy began to manifest. The large mass of Nirvana demon flames began to disappear, replaced by 5 small, deep-colored black orbs. After a moment, these small orbs expanded slightly and finally solidified to about the size of a thumb. The 5 thumb-sized black orbs floated silently within the light net. They were quiet, but they emitted a disquieting aura. The previous Nirvana demon flames had been compressed into these 5 fiery black orbs by Lin Dong. Gazing at the 5 peculiar black orbs, Lin Dong's heart surged with excitement. He then slowly opened his closed eyes, pinched one of the black orbs between his fingers. The black orbs, formed from the Nirvana demon flames, were not hot. Instead, they felt strangely cool. However, Lin Dong knew that once unleashed, these small orbs could cause significant trouble even for a cultivator at the 3rd Nirvana stage. These things, let's call them Nirvana Fire Demon Orbs. Lin Dong examined the black orb, and after compressing all the Nirvana demon flames within him, he had only obtained 5 of these Nirvana Fire Demon Orbs. However, he believed that they would prove to be quite effective in the future. This is quite the harvest from the Nirvana tribulation. Lin Dong waved his fingers, storing the Nirvana Fire Demon Orbs within his body. He then stretched lazily, causing a series of crisp cracks from his bones. A powerful sensation, unlike anything he had felt before, surged through his limbs and body, rolling through him like a tidal wave, mighty and overwhelming. 3rd Nirvana stage. A satisfied smile slowly spread across Lin Dong's face. After 4 months of arduous cultivation, his strength had undergone a tremendous transformation. The difference between him now and when he first entered the ancient secret realm was like the difference between heaven and earth. A cultivator who has passed through the 3 Nirvana tribulations is undoubtedly considered an outstanding figure on the ancient battlefield. Although there are certainly more formidable individuals in this realm, Lin Dong was undaunted. With his current resources and strength, finding an opponent within the 3rd Nirvana stage was rare, and even a cultivator at the 4th Nirvana stage would likely find it challenging to deal with him. Lin Dong leaped from the ancient training platform and briefly sensed the various movements within his body. After detecting no abnormalities, he looked up and directed his gaze towards the distance. In the Dan River several hundred meters away, a massive light cocoon hovered in midair, surrounded by a black and white aura. Dense life and death energy spread out, resembling the cycle of life and death. The light cocoon now was undoubtedly several dozen times larger than it was 4 months ago. Lin Dong could sense that the originally faint aura inside was growing stronger at an astonishing rate. Most importantly, Lin Dong began to feel a genuine flesh and blood aura emanating from within the cocoon. The little weasel, being a demonic spirit, naturally had no flesh or blood, but now this aura was appearing within the cocoon. It seemed that the effects of the life and death reincarnation pill were truly starting to manifest. It should be soon. Sensing the swirling flesh and blood energy, Lin Dong murmured softly. The little weasel had been in deep seclusion for 4 months. Unless something unexpected happened, it should soon be ready to emerge. When the little weasel emerges, it will have become a true celestial weasel, standing at the pinnacle of the beast hierarchy. Lin Dong was also quite curious about the state of the little weasel once it emerged.